Okay, well, we're looking now at this corner of Wadi here. We are entering where the Israelites would have come off the main trade route from Goshen, where we were at.
This experience made me believe that Moses and the Israelites were here, and to prove it is the rock behind us. And the more I believe this is where Moses were.
And I can feel that. You can see I got goosebumps, and I'm very thrilled that I have visited this place.
I'm convinced that this is where the Israelites set up their golden calf while Moses was up on the mountain receiving the commandments from God.
Something extraordinary has emerged from one of the most unlikely places on earth, the vast, arid deserts of Saudi Arabia. For centuries, questions have surrounded the Bible's most dramatic stories. Are they literal history or symbolic parables? Now, compelling new evidence buried beneath the earth and sea may finally provide answers that could shake the foundations of biblical scholarship and captivate believers and skeptics alike. What if the miracle of the parted sea wasn't just a Sunday school story, but a real historic event? What if the very path that Moses and the Israelites walked still bears the imprint of that momentous journey, preserved in the depths of the Red Sea and in the windswept mountains of Arabia? Before we explore the powerful archaeological discoveries that could confirm the truth of one of the Old Testament's most breathtaking miracles, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Stay connected as we uncover the most fascinating mysteries of biblical history, faith, and ancient civilizations. Now, let's step back in time and retrace the footsteps of an enslaved nation set free by the hand of God. The Exodus begins, a journey of faith and fear. The Bible tells us of a nation bound in chains, living under the cruel hand of Pharaoh in ancient Egypt. For over 400 years, the Israelites endured suffering and oppression. Then came a man named Moses, chosen by God to confront Pharaoh and lead his people to freedom. After a dramatic confrontation, marked by 10 devastating plagues, Pharaoh finally relented. Under the cover of night, a mass migration began. It's estimated that over 2 million Israelites departed from Egypt, carrying what they could, guided only by faith and the promise of deliverance. But freedom was fleeting. Pharaoh's heart, hardened once again, turned to vengeance. He summoned his army, his finest chariots, horsemen, and soldiers, and pursued the Israelites into the wilderness. The Israelites found themselves trapped, the Red Sea before them, and Pharaoh's war machines thundering from behind. Death seemed inevitable, but in that desperate moment, God gave Moses a command that would echo through eternity. Exodus 14 verse 21 reads, "Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. Towering walls of water rose on either side, revealing a dry path across the seabed. The Israelites walked through in safety. But when the Egyptian army followed, the waters collapsed, swallowing Pharaoh's forces in a moment of divine judgment. The people of Israel were free. The underwater discovery, a ridge beneath the sea. Fast forward to our time. A team of marine archaeologists, scanning the seafloor between Egypt's Nuweiba beach and the Saudi coast, made a surprising discovery. Beneath the waves, about 33 meters below the surface, lies a smooth, gently sloping underwater ridge. A natural land bridge, steep drop-offs typical of the Red Sea. This unique formation stretches across the seabed, connecting the two shores in a way that could explain how a massive crowd could cross in safety. But even more astonishing is what divers have found resting on this seabed. Coral-encrusted shapes, circular, symmetrical, and strangely reminiscent of ancient chariot wheels, dot the seafloor. Some appear to retain the outlines of spokes, hubs, and axles. When scanned with metal detectors, traces of ancient bronze and iron alloys, materials consistent with Egyptian chariot construction, were detected. These findings echo the controversial work of biblical researcher Ron Wyatt, who decades ago reported similar underwater discoveries in this region. Though heavily criticized at the time, his claims have since been supported by other independent divers and explorers, who returned to these waters and captured striking photographic and video evidence. Could these be the remnants of Pharaoh's army, preserved for thousands of years beneath the sea? Beyond the sea, the search for the real Mount Sinai. According to biblical chronology, after crossing the Red Sea, the Israelites journeyed toward Mount Sinai, the mountain where God would give Moses the 10 Commandments. For centuries, most scholars assumed Sinai was located in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, near the famous St. Catherine's Monastery. But a careful reading of Scripture tells a different story. After the Red Sea crossing, the Israelites entered the land of Midian, which is not in Egypt but in modern-day Saudi Arabia. This detail has led researchers to consider a different mountain, Jabal al-Lawz, located in northwestern Saudi Arabia, as the possible true Mount Sinai. When Ron Wyatt and later expeditions visited this remote and heavily restricted area, what they found was astonishing. Jabal al-Lawz, a mountain blackened by fire. The summit of Jabal al-Lawz is blackened, scorched as if burned by intense fire. Geologists who studied the mountain confirmed that only the surface is burned. Beneath the charred layer, the rock remains unchanged. This matches the description from Exodus 19 verse 18. Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord descended on it in fire. At the base of the mountain lies a large ancient altar built of uncut stones, just as God commanded in Exodus 20 verse 25. Around it, researchers discovered heaps of animal bones, which could be remnants of sacrifices made by the Israelites during their stay at Sinai. Nearby, a collection of tall, upright standing stones rises from the ground. Some believe these may mark ancient graves, possibly for the 3,000 people who perished during the golden calf incident described in Exodus 32 verse 28. On surrounding cliffs, faint carvings of bulls and calves can still be seen, possible remnants of the idolatrous worship that occurred while Moses was receiving the commandments. The rock at Horeb, a miracle remembered. Perhaps the most visually stunning feature in the area is a colossal rock, over 50 feet tall, split cleanly down the middle. This rock, perched on a hill, has deep water channels etched into its base, as though a powerful stream once gushed forth from between its halves. Could this be the rock at Horeb that Moses struck to bring water to the people? In Exodus 17 verse 6, God says to Moses, "Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people will drink." The spiritual significance of this moment is echoed throughout the Bible. The rock represents Christ, struck once to provide living water to all who believe. It is a symbol of grace, provision, and the power of God to meet the needs of his people, even in the wilderness. The encampment site, a plain of wonders. At the foot of Jabal al-Lawz lies a vast open plain, large enough to accommodate the entire Israelite camp. Overlooking this plain is a natural stone outcropping shaped like a pulpit, which many believe could have been where Moses addressed the people. When standing on this plain, with the towering blackened mountain above and the open desert beyond, it's not difficult to imagine the thunder, fire, and divine voice that once filled the air, commanding reverence and obedience. Faith meets history. Why this matters. If these discoveries in Saudi Arabia are indeed connected to the biblical Exodus, then we are not merely looking at ancient ruins, we are standing on sacred ground. These are not just archaeological curiosities. They are anchors of faith, confirming that the stories passed down through generations are not myths, but history. The parted sea, the fire on the mountain, the water from the rock. These are not metaphors, but moments in time, experienced by real people, under the guidance of a real and living God. In an age where faith is often doubted, and the Bible dismissed as legend, these findings remind us of the enduring truth of Scripture. As Isaiah 40 verse 8 declares, "The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever." Conclusion, call to reflection. What do we make of these discoveries? That is a question for each of us to answer. Whether you believe in miracles or seek scientific explanations, one thing is clear: the past is speaking. And what it says may just challenge everything we thought we knew about history, faith, and the power of God to move through both. If you found this journey enlightening, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Join us as we continue to explore the forgotten corners of history, uncover biblical mysteries, and seek the truth beneath the sands of time. Thank you for watching.